to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Foo.
I've worked one day this week.
Well, that sounds like just a normal week for you,
right?
At this point, is that pickle getting to you right now?
It was spicy.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Is it like spicy enough that it would affect you and make your face sweat, or
No, but it's like hot tongue.
Okay.
Like hot tongue. Like
I had the impression that like maybe you are now struggling with
no. It's
hacking or something.
Well, it's like, lingering, like a Tabasco, like just enough to where it's like, okay. I feel you.
Right.
Okay. Anytime now, you can go away.
Did you watch the video I sent of those two guys? Oh, you did. Because you commented on it. How he didn't wipe his face. That drove me crazy. How he would not wipe his face. But
yes,
I think that's just two normal guys, right? That were eating that.
Was it?
Well, yeah, I think they're just two normal dudes.
Fucking the shit.
And that kind of shows you like what the bomb sauce is really like.
Oh, yes.
And then I saw another video where a reporter chick did a whole series or a whole segment thing on
how it's made,
the company that makes the bomb sauce.
Yeah.
And they were basically saying, like, look, this sauce is not meant to be, like, put on wings and eaten on wings.
Yeah,
It's really meant to be like a chili additive, like a few drops of it in a chili cook.
Right.
And then just to kick it up, because it's, like, basically just capsaicin, right?
Yeah.
And, like heat extracts and shit.
It's a heat additive, not a seasoning.
It does have a little bit it does have some seasoning to it, but it is mainly a heat additive. Yes.
Yeah.
And she went and they showed her how they make it.
Yeah.
And there were points where, like, right after she gets into the plant and, she's wearing like a hairnet and they're like in there.
Right.
And they're showing here's, this stuff. And she's like, oh, I mean, like her just she's hacking and like, because there's fumes. The amount of fumes is tremendous in there just when they're mixing that stuff.
Is everybody else just used to it, or are they wearing goggles and masks?
Some of them are wearing eye protection. Some have masks on. Some don't. I think it just depends on the person.
Wow.
It was pretty gnarly.
Not fucking around.
Yeah. And I remember watching, too, a thing about Tabasco, where they make Tabasco in Louisiana or wherever that's made.
Yeah.
And that the capsaicin, the peppers that they use are so corrosive that they just have to replace their forklift every once in a while because it starts to affect the forklift. Crazy shit like that.
Did you remember... God, it was a couple months ago when, like, the name brand Siracha sauce went, like, shortage.
Yeah.
And do you know the story behind that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, okay.
I've read a couple articles.
So you may have more details. So what?
Basically, it was the original Siracha that everybody knows and loves, the rooster sauce.
Yes.
That everyone knows and loves with the green cap, I want to say.
Yeah.
So the owner of Hui Fong Foods, or whatever the name of that company is, and a guy who grows peppers, like, entered a deal together. And they had, over the years, like, renewed contracts every year. But then at some point, it was just like, we don't need to. We're doing it. And the chili pepper guy ended up, like, planting all of his stuff, like all of his land with chili peppers to accommodate for the Hui Fong Foods.
Okay.
And then there was like a thing that happened between them, and their relationship just soured like really fast.
Okay.
And then the Hui Fong Foods people just cut this guy off. And so now he's got chili peppers that he's growing that he can't do anything with because his only supply, the only guy that he supplies this stuff to is Hui Fong Foods.
Ah.
And so that created like lawsuits. It was really ugly.
Okay.
And so, so that was part of the reason why there were shortages in the rooster sauce is because they were really, they're really looking for a specific pepper,
right,
and red pepper, and to be grown to their standards or whatever.
right.
And that was hard to find without having this guy. Kind of a
Interesting.
thing. Yeah.
So I'm glad you had. See, I only know it from like a passerby type
from a consumer standpoint,
and it was the version that I know was that the pepper guy. It's how funny how urban stuff just trickles out.
Yeah.
So the pepper guy, when the contract came for renewal, pepper guy wanted more money. Hui Fong said, no. We hold all the bags here. Like, and so the pepper guy went, fine, fuck you. And the pepper guy spun up his own Sriracha sauce.
And I don't believe that was if I remember the story
but
correctly.
I have read no articles.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
I'm given that you said you're more, I'm trusting that probably what I know is more urban myth to defend the Hui Fong nation of Sriracha sauce.
Right. Well, they still, I mean, I think people still prefer that sauce over others. I mean, everyone's gotten, Trader Joe's has their own, like everybody's got their own shit.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? And
they filled that aisle with other Sriracha sauces in the Hui Fong vacancy.
Right.
But when it came back up, I did buy the Sriracha sauce.
Now, my understanding is that the flavor's slightly different now from the way it used to be because of the different pepper suppliers.
Oh.
And they've probably, I assume they're not using one person for their pepper suppliers, so they could get different flavored peppers. That's my understanding of the situation.
So do you know if the pepper guy has leveraged his own pepper sauce?
I don't recall that part of the story.
It would be weird to not do anything with your peppers, right?
Yeah, I don't remember, but it was a while ago also when I read it. But I always thought that was a really interesting, because it was like, well, what happened? Like, they were just printing money, essentially. And I remember also that where their plant is somewhere in LA, that it was causing problems with the neighboring neighborhood from the fumes and stuff. So yeah, so they were having that kind of issue with like housing around in the area and that kind of stuff. But I don't remember what the pepper guy. I think the pepper guy ended up being able to sell his peppers somewhere else, or I don't know. I don't remember exactly what the end game or what the end ended up being for him.
Sriracha sauce conspiracy theories.
Yeah, kind of bonkers.
I mean, there's a monstrous culture behind that sauce.
Yeah.
Like bordering on like the whole Gilroy garlic shit. Like garlic ice cream and garlic blah, blah, and you're like, calm down.
Yeah, because they were doing like Hui Fong was doing like collabs with people and all kinds of shit.
They're a whole someone on like a Food Network thing went to like a Sriracha sauce like con.
Yeah,
where they did. It was like almost like a fair.
Everything. So instead of like the garlic festival, it's the Sriracha festival.
Hot dogs, mac and cheese, desserts, ice creams, gelato. Fucking just okay.
Calm down now.
Yeah, settle down.
Yeah. But you can get what's nice is I think that competition and the lack of shelf space from when they stopped making stuff.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't get peppers. I think that ended up creating, a product vacuum that has been filled, like you were saying, has been
Oh,
filled
yeah,
by other
sure.
companies. And so you get different flavors of Sriracha, and some of them are terrible,
Yeah.
but some of them are really good. There's one that I forget even who makes it, but it has a very nice garlicky. I like a real garlicky sort of hot sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't even.
I think
remember.
we lucked out in having
You had enough to make it through.
Yeah, we survived the Sriracha Armageddon of the 2024.
That's what it felt like, right? Like
yeah.
like this really popular, suddenly out of nowhere hot sauce just disappeared off the shelf.
It
and
was
you're
like one
what
of
the
those
fuck
things
happened?
where I subscribed to like the Hot Ones monthly whatever for the longest time. I still have a backlog of hot sauces.
Yeah.
But there's like having hot sauce removes someone that's like always. My wife will like raise her eyebrows and go, I probably consume too much salt. I'm notorious for it. Adding hot sauces and implementing hot sauces into some of the things that I would normally season with too much salt was a way for me to abate and draw down my salt intake.
So do you add a lot of salt to your food?
Normally, yeah.
Oh,
Salt,
wow.
like I am a frequenter of a salt and a pepper. Like
I'm a huge pepper guy, but very little extra salt goes on.
I
my
do
food.
too much salt,
Okay.
for sure.
All right.
Like I'll admit it straight away. Too much.
Well, I used to know a guy
But
who would coat his plate with salt.
oh, that's a bit too much.
Yeah. Okay. So that's not you.
No.
Wow.
But in knowing that it was too much, and I've gone to, especially since the hot sauce thing, like got me dabbling in how do I season something that
Without using salt. Yeah.
but also not to substitute it, but to get a different taste experience. Like,
Mhm.
why not? I found myself with Xander, like anime cooking stuff, like more Korean and Japanese food things. So like,
But there are typically a lot of salt in there.
sure, but I'm doing that without that. So
Right.
like Korean stuff, like it's almost like sriracha, gochujang,
Right.
chili, crunch
Yep.
stuff. So I had, if I were making a burrito instead of salt, I would just lace the top with sriracha sauce and sweet. So I was really. That's not true. We started really ripping through it when we came back from Fiji. We started doing a lot more shrimp tacos
Mhm.
and fish tacos, and Venus makes a just like a not a paste, a dressing
Okay.
for like a shrimp taco.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Like a squeeze.
Sort of like sour cream mixed with some
Yeah,
hot sauce
it's like
or
a
something.
mayonnaise with like a sriracha
Lime or
sauce.
something,
Yeah,
yeah.
really good. And at the ratio that she makes it, everyone in the house eats it. It
Right.
pounds it. We were starting to rip through sauce as we took in more fish, shrimp, and crustacean
Fish substitute.
fish substitutes. But on its own, too much heat for most everyone else in the house. So I was the only one really using it. I think we were at half a bottle when the whole Sriracha Mageddon kicked in. And then it was, well, I don't really want to buy anything else but the Hui Fong one.
Right.
And we're like, what the fuck's the deal? Like, where is it? And then I think my dad mentioned that there was a shortage for whatever reason. He's like, that shit's gold. As he like opens the fridge to get water or something. He's like, oh, shit. That's worth money now. I'm like, what? The fuck? Oh, yeah, they're out of it.
Yeah, you can't get it.
And then finally when it kicked in, but, I was like, well, okay, I'll ration it out. But I opted to start using gochujang sauce, and then chili crunch.
Yeah.
Man, like just taking a small teaspoon of chili crunch and putting it in like a ramen. Woo,
Oh, yeah.
good times.
Yeah.
But then now that's back, and I don't have a palate capable of knowing the difference between the
Previous
new version and the old version.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I bury it in a ramen
Anyway.
or a turkey meat
Yeah.
burrito.
Well, I'm also like I like hot and spicy stuff, but also I have to be in the right frame of mind for it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I don't want the extra spice on there or the whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I just want the flavor of the thing. I don't want the extra.
Yeah.
So it just kind of depends on the day, but you know, most of the time.
What did we
Hot
start
sauce.
putting? Like corn on the cob. Frank's red hot sauce on corn on the cob. Like I think I saw it on like a diners, drive-ins, and dives years ago.
Uh-huh.
Somewhere in the middle of COVID. And it was like, normally we get corn on the cob and make it. And I'm like, it's just, it's corn on the cob. And at some point, I saw someone putting Frank's red hot sauce on it. And what was it? Like cotija cheese. I'm like, sure, I'll try that. And just, you cannot in this house any longer keep corn on the cob. Like, oh, we'll just have some for leftovers. We didn't eat all the corn. Nope, no.
There's never not corn.
It's
There's
like
never corn
fucking-
left over.
Skip the butter, skip the salt,
Oh.
just start spinning it. Frank's little ribbons of Frank's red hot sauce, gone. Pound, gone. It's amazing.
I love to take corn on the cob and put it in foil and with some garlic butter and then throw that on the griddle or the grill
Yeah.
and just let the garlic butter steam and cook
Yeah.
in the foil. Oh, gosh, it's so good like
What did I
that.
do when the girls were corn ribs? You like
Oh, you slice them?
slice it into cob into quarters.
Yeah.
And then you season the out of it like a elote, like you would like
Yeah.
a Mexican street corn,
Yeah.
and you air fryer it in 9 minutes or something. And they're just, I guess you don't quite feel so guilty for pounding like whole because it's like cut into a corner, but you can
Yeah.
fit more inside the air fryer.
Yeah.
And at 9 minutes, you're like, well, shit.
Yeah.
And they just come out done, ready to go, and you're just like, that shit's good too.
I had a mishap. Speaking of dinners.
Uh-oh.
So we Monday, Melly wanted to make a quiche. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I was excited about that. And then I griddled some potatoes,
Okay.
like diced up potatoes.
Yeah.
And they were gorgeous.
Mhm.
And we were waiting for the quiche to like stop being jiggly, right? It needed to cook.
Yeah.
So it came out of the oven, was still a little jiggly. So it went back in the oven for like another so many minutes. And I checked it after so many minutes and then it was not jiggly anymore. I'm like, all right, this has got to come out.
Okay.
So I pick it up with those bare hands
Right.
that have like sort of like little plastic
Uh-oh.
tabs on the fingers.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I picked it up and I don't know if I bumped something or what, but the thing like flipped upside down and landed partially on the oven rack.
Oh.
And then
Here we go.
down the side of the oven and all over the hinge of the door and then down into the bottom of the door and then down the cabinet and onto the floor. So that was our dinner Monday night I dropped it all
Cabinet
over.
quiche.
I just want to ask, do you think I was happy or angry?
You strike me as someone that was excited for the cleanup.
Well, let's just put it this way. I was very verbal. Okay.
Did Max have to leave the room?
Absolutely.
Oh, he did. Okay, yeah.
And so did everybody else. So I got to clean that up by myself.
Get the.
I was very
So everyone
upset.
had potatoes.
I destroyed Melanie's quiche. And man, it smelled so I could not wait to have it.
Yeah.
I could not wait. The potatoes were awesome. The quiche smelled so good.
What was in it? What kind of quiche?
A bunch of veggies.
Oh, yeah.
Cheese.
Cheese.
Eggs.
Peppers. Mushrooms.
There was some jalapeno in there. Peppers, onion. Stuff like that. I'm not sure what else she had in there. But it smelled incredible, and I could not wait, and thus the anger.
Much frustrate.
Yeah.
So, wow.
So everyone was bummed. We didn't end up eating until like 8:30. We had to go get sandwiches from Mike's.
With your potatoes?
We didn't even eat the potatoes because they sat on top of the oven.
Oh.
Cooling off while I cleaned all of the fucking egg and veggies and shit from the oven creases.
Did
and
it stay outside of any? Do you have any drawers underneath?
Oh,
your
no.
oven?
Yeah, it made its way into the drawer underneath the oven.
Yeah. So we're talking full
into the handles.
Oh, yeah.
It was up in the bottom of the oven door, all in the hinge of the door. It was inside of there.
Oh.
It went down into where the burners are. I haven't even gotten that far yet because it was still hot when I was cleaning, so I haven't taken the bottom out of the oven to clean in there.
Much excited. Do you have like a self-cleaning oven cycle?
Yeah.
Where you just turn it all into fucking ash?
I pulled the door off of it and scrubbed the door and was cleaning like crazy, and yeah, it was a mess. So yeah, that was fun.
Wow.
That was a good day.
Monday.
But that followed Sunday, where Chandler and I decided to he has a Ford Ranger Tremor package, which is a nice pickup. But he doesn't like the fact that it's raked towards the front. It has like a 2-inch drop in the front.
Okay.
It's like that from the factory.
Right.
Most trucks have a rake.
Yes.
And I think it's for towing reasons, right?
Yes.
For the bed to sit down.
Right.
So he didn't like the look. He doesn't really tow much, but he wants it to sit level.
Right.
So he bought a leveling kit, and the leveling kit sits at the top. It gets screwed onto the top of the struts in the front.
Okay.
So you got to take the strut out, put this 2-inch leveling kit on the top, and then replace the strut and put it all back together.
Okay.
So he was like, before he ordered it, do you think we can do this? I'm like, I don't see why not,
Yeah.
So he ordered it, and it came in. And so I went over on Sunday to help him.
So it's a 2-inch lift in the front?
Yeah.
A 2-inch lift. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So spacers.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And one of the things that we made note of was that it's 4-wheel drive, so it's in the front and there is drive axles up there.
Right.
And if you overextend the CV axle, you run a chance of separating the joint inside the boot.
Okay.
On the inner CV joint.
Okay.
And then shit doesn't go back right because now you can't get the axle to sit in far enough.
Okay.
For the upper control arm and the top of the knuckle to connect.
Okay.
And so we get the first side done, and then he pulls his truck out and turns it around, and first of all, the first side is always the hard one. We've never done this before.
Right. That was like Shan's, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
The first side is the hardest. We learn a little from our mistakes. And again, it goes back to that thing I said before about sometimes you just have to learn you got to take more stuff off than you need to. Okay. That's the case here. Sure. We learned what we needed to take off. So the second side's flying through great. However, when we go to put the strut back in, we were having a real hard time getting it to fit between the lower control arm and the upper hat.
Okay.
And so we're pushing on the lower control arm, which is connected to and we had separated the axle with the lock nut. We had taken that off. So the axle had freedom of movement in the hub. Okay. So it could come out of the hub. But the lower control arm, we couldn't get it down far enough to get the strut back in. Okay. So we were really struggling, and we just went ham on it and
Mhm.
got it in there.
Okay.
And I think that last going ham on it is what pulled it and separated the inner CD.
Oh.
So we had a situation where now the top control arm and the top of the knuckle wouldn't connect. You couldn't physically get it underneath where it needed to go.
Oh.
There was like a space of about that far where it would just stop. You couldn't get it to go up.
Okay.
And so we're struggling with it, like, what the hell, you know, like it was going very smoothly,
Right.
very quickly compared to the other side.
Right.
And then we realize we think that the axle has separated inside.
Okay.
So Chandler's upset because now his truck is in his garage. We can close the door, but it's getting late and we have somewhere to be at 5:30 and it's like
PM.
5. Yes.
Okay.
And he realizes my truck is not going to be done.
Right.
And we're going to have to order a new CV axle because we don't have the boot or the no. I mean, I guess we could do it.
Okay.
But we don't know how to get it. You can't see it inside because there's a boot around it.
Right.
So you don't know how to get it seated back in there. Did something come off?
Right.
Did one of the little rollers come out?
Okay.
We don't know.
Okay.
So we go with, let's order a new CV axle for $140.
Oh, okay.
So I said, I'll pay for half because half of this job was me.
Right.
And so that took until, last night? Last night. He got the new one last night. So his truck was up on jacks and jack stands from Sunday through last night.
Yeah.
And we were able to easily put it back together. But
so putting a new axle in was easier than realigning it, or
we don't know. It's inside of a boot. So essentially, the inner CV axle, the inner CV joint is like a can on the outside, and then there's like 3 like rollers that are on the inside of it, and they fit inside, and they fit in a specific way inside the can.
Okay.
And so that's because there's rollers in there. That's what gives it the ability to articulate.
Right.
And it got separated, and we don't know because of the boot, and we don't have a boot to replace it. And if you have a boot, you're basically taking the whole thing apart, and then it's greasy. It's very messy.
Right.
So, but we didn't know what the issue was inside the boot, so there's no way to see it. So we were like, the easiest way to fix this is just to buy a thing, and then we know that part's good. And if we need to, we can buy a boot later and reseat it if it's possible. So we just chose to buy a new axle. So
once you had it out, could you see what was the...
No, because of the boot.
The
boot sits around the joint, and without taking... So we did actually cut the boot.
I was going to say, so...
It's like, oh, we've already got a new part. Let's just cut the boot.
Right.
And then Chandler gave it some smacks, like kind of played with it, and like the couple of the rollers weren't sitting down on top, so he got those to sit in, and then gave it a smack, and then it it went back together. Well, that's great.
Great. You're not in the truck now, and the boot's gone.
The boot's trashed. There's oil. There's grease everywhere.
Right.
And so we got a new axle anyway. So we threw it back together. It only took us like an hour to finish it all up.
Yeah.
And now it's fine. I think he has to go get an alignment.
I was going to say, do you, with removing that 4-wheel drive, was he going to get an alignment?
I think so.
How's that?
Because he said, I'll have to get an alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're adding
2 inches.
You're adding 2 inches to the front. So now it sits level. We measured the fenders from the bottom of from the ground up to the fender, and they're exactly the same height.
Yeah.
Which he likes. I'm not sure. I mean, I think if I was going to do that job, if that were my truck,
I
might want a slight rake to the front. Maybe like half.
I would be curious what his experience is going to, because he's always, I mean, to this point, he's always struck me as someone that's been helping his friends move or tow or toss shit in the back.
We did tow a trailer home from
So
Oregon.
I'm curious what his experience will be the moment he puts load, whether or not he sees any sort of reverse that gives him an irritant kind of a thing.
I think in his mind, it's more, he doesn't tow that much. So it's not that big. He'd rather have it be level for the 99% of the time that he's driving around.
I mean, there's a reason why they make leveling kits, because there's a lot of daily driver trucks that aren't hauling anything or don't have. I mean, shit, if he was someone that was doing what looks like the whole overland shit where guys are putting the racks and chase racks and the fucking tanks and whole fucking roof nest camper hardtops and shit. Then he may have probably leveled his truck with like all of that extra shit. But then at the same time, those people are now hauling around 300 to 400 extra pounds. Well, yeah, of course your truck's leveled now, but you're hauling that stuff around all the time.
Right.
Like that's not, I mean, that's gas mileage, that's durability, that's tread wear, like all of those things. Well, congratulations, you leveled your truck, but how often are you going overlanding?
Right.
How often are you camping? Someone like him who's not probably towing and as a newlywed is probably working full time, is probably not doing too much camping anymore.
Yeah.
Probably to the same frequency as he is towing. So a leveling kit probably makes most sense to him.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's an aesthetic thing, really. More than anything else.
I certainly would. I don't know. I don't have any experience with a leveling kit, but my perspective would be anytime I'm taking a RAV4 or CRV aside, because it's the rear, the suspension of whatever drive axle is, if I am disassembling it and then putting it back together, I am always like, nah, that's an alignment.
Yeah.
Because as someone that then has to pay for hundreds of dollars in tires.
Oh, and his tires aren't cheap.
Right. So it's like, I will eat shit. I don't even know what the cost of his alignment is because I haven't had that. Usually I get that done when I have tires replaced.
Right.
But do you know how much is an alignment?
$60-$80.
Is it?
They're not that much.
To me, that's like a no-brainer when you're talking about. I removed the strut caps, and especially on one side, I replaced an axle. And me and my dad gave that fucking thing the business.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay that $80, and because $80 is a lot better than $650 in tires.
I mean, he mentioned like, I'll have to go get an alignment for sure. So he knows.
Yeah.
So it's up to him to go get that done.
Yeah, get it done.
Yeah,
dumbass.
But yeah, that was an experience. That was the first time we ever left a car stranded on the stands. after her. I mean, we weren't doing a repair; it was a mod. But
Yeah,
but we finished it. We got it done. It's fine.
Shit happens.
Shit happens sometimes. It's just one of we were talking about it, and it's like one of those things where we don't own multiple cars, and I don't have a project car, and he doesn't have a project car.
Yeah,
that's his daily rig. So to have your daily rig out of commission because
how do you get to work?
He uses his van.
Oh, well, Monday was a holiday. So
he worked.
Did he?
Yeah, he has a van. He has the Bay van.
Oh, okay.
So he just takes the van.
Okay.
And then they have the other car too, so they have a vehicle.
Right.
Yeah.
So he wasn't hosed because he just drove the work truck.
Yeah, he just drove his work truck.
Okay. It wasn't that he had to get working so he could get to the shop.
No, he has a Bay van that goes home with him.
Okay.
And so he just gets in the Bay van and goes to work.
There you go.
Because it's got all his tools in it.
Right.
But so that was an experience. that was an experience, and kind of sketchy a little bit. He was upset.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's, we'll get it done. No,
Right.
It may not be, it's Sunday.
Mhm.
It's 5:00. We were supposed to be somewhere at 5:30. We were late.
Mm.
It's not going to be today. We're going to have to order the part. And it just came in yesterday. So he's like, it's here. And I'm like, all right, I'll throw some clothes on and come over.
Yesterday was Tuesday. So well, that's not bad.
No. It's fine.
It's fine.
They bought a car over the weekend. So
Was that you knew? Was that a scheduled purchase? Do you know?
he had been kicking it around for a while. He had a very large Volkswagen kick.
Yes.
And that translated into him, he had a GTI,
Mm-hmm.
and that translated into Nicole buying a Volkswagen Tiguan.
Mm-hmm.
The Tiguan, that's a nice car, but it had an issue that he had into the dealer under warranty several times
Mm-hmm.
because the AC would just stop blowing cold air
Mm-hmm.
for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would eventually start working again. So he would take it in, and they could never figure out what the problem was, and he was frustrated. And then it started developing rattles, and so he was getting pissed about that.
Mm.
He's like, so I've got a fucking car they could never fix, and now it's fucking rattling, and now it's out of warranty, and we're making payments on it, which sucks,
Mm-hmm.
because now you just sort of feel like you're making payments on a piece of shit.
Right.
So they chose to sell it, I think, to CarMax,
Okay.
and then took. They had some things they wanted to pay off, so they took the equity out of the car,
Mm-hmm.
and they're paying off some stuff, and then use also some of that money for the down for a lease
Mm-hmm.
on a Honda Prologue.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what a Honda Prologue is, it's an all-electric Honda,
Right.
which is made by GM.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
So what
it's
is
a GM? It's a Honda branded GM essentially.
shit? I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yes.
What is the GM variant?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Is it Epilogue? No, it's a dad joke.
I don't know if it's what platform it is, but it's fairly large. Melly, Shannon, and I fit in the back seat. Compared to the Tiguan, we were smashed in there. Where the Prologue, we fit in there great. We drove it to San Francisco. They got it Friday night,
Mm-hmm.
and we drove it to San Francisco Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick miles. Put it on there.
Well, we were already going to San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
and it was either going to be taking his truck or taking the Tiguan. So they got a new Prologue, so let's take it,
Right.
kind of a thing. So it was a nice car. It's a really nice car. In fact, I'm like, man, this would be a great car for Shanna.
Yeah. It's bigger than the CRV.
Oh yeah,
It's
bigger than it looks in video and pictures.
Yeah.
It looks like it's like HRV size. HRV, this Honda HRV.
Yeah.
It looks like it's HRV sized, but it's bigger than a CRV.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We were
Much
They
bigger in
had
person.
two in a parking lot. Oddly enough,
Uh-huh.
Piper and I were walking past, and I went, "Fucking, what are the odds that these be?"
There's two.
So I took a. They had I don't know. They were just parked there as like a sponsor for something else in the parking lot. So I'm like, fucking, I'll be damned. But they're God damn it. I'm trying to think of the size. I don't think it. Well, would you say it's about the Explorer in size? I think it has more.
It's a little bit
Yeah.
wider, but I don't think maybe it's as long. I'm not sure. I don't know that it's quite as big as an Explorer.
Not.
Maybe.
I think it's wider, but probably not as long. But it's got this.
Yeah.
Is it 3 rows?
No, it's only 2.
Maybe that's why it has so much space. Like the fucking Explorer's 3rd row is pointless for the size of people we have in our house now.
Yeah.
So I bet if you squished back how about like a 4-seated Bronco or the 4-seated Jeep or 4-door Jeep? Maybe that platform, an Edge.
I don't know. I mean, what's a Chevy vehicle
An
that's
Envoy?
electric?
A GM Envoy? I don't know what their
Or a GM
Blazer? Is the
maybe
is the
it is.
Blazer EV now?
Yeah, maybe it's a Blazer.
Yeah, there you go.
Like he was looking at the brakes. Oh yeah, it says GM on it. That's crazy.
I'll be damned.
So, I mean,
Parts everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, sure. I mean, Honda never really has a problem with parts, though.
No.
You know what I mean?
But GM certainly doesn't.
I feel like this is a very familiar thing for Honda to do. They've done this with several vehicles, right? The original Odyssey was like a collab between them and who was it that made that thing? I forget who the manufacturer was, but the original Odyssey was not designed by Honda. It was somebody else. And they'd done that with a couple other cars too.
Well, those things like happen.
Well, what happens is they co-brand with they like license this design from another company while they are working on their own design to like, oh, we need to get into this market. This is the quickest way. Somebody else is already doing this. Let's license the thing. Let's do a thing there.
Right.
And then in the meantime, we'll develop our own stuff.
Sure.
And they've done this several times, and it's not that uncommon.
Yeah.
But
you saw shit. We've been around for collabs like Mitsubishi and what was it, Eagle?
Oh yeah.
The
Eagle
Talon and the Eclipse.
Mitsubishi Eclipse and the Plymouth Laser or whatever it was.
Fucking the Focus shares the similar platform and engine with the Mazdas.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, the 2.4, 2.3 liter engine is also the one used in like the Mazda MX-3 hatchbacky.
Yeah.
Mazda just doesn't have the fucking all-wheel drive setup as the Focus does.
Chrysler used to be really famous for that. They have the same car like as a Plymouth, but also as a Dodge, but also as a Chrysler.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, shit, you got the Supra, the new Supra, and the BMW is across the. God, there's another Toyota, the Subaru BRZ FRS.
Yeah,
same.
The BMW.
Same.
Whatever.
Balls on you.
Is that the Z? What's the BMW version of the Supra?
Is it?
Because that's a BMW and Toyota.
Yeah.
You know.
It's not the Z4, is it? That's still a.
I think that's a different.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking BMW. But I mean, it's not that uncommon.
No, it's not.
You know, because
I did not know.
I think what it is from a car manufacturing, it's hard to design cars, right? So it costs a lot of money. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
Costs a lot of money to develop a car from the ground up. And especially when it comes to we were just talking about this a couple weeks ago, an all new electric platform. So for Honda to do that from the ground up without seeing if their sales can sustain it.
Right.
That's harder, I would assume. And especially in the US market's so weird because we like our cars big.
Right.
Like all their JDM little tiny cars they have over in Japan, that's one thing. But here it's like, what's going to stick to the Americans? Right. And they need big things and they're Americans.
Yeah.
And, you know. So, but I was impressed with it. It rides super nice. It was nice and comfortable.
Materials inside.
Yeah, it was nice. The infotainment system seemed pretty good. I assume there'll be lots of software updates available for it. It's fairly new.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cushy ride, nice.
Yeah, nice and comfortable. We drove it. We went to Alcatraz. I had never been, so that was fucking exciting. Oddly, I'd never been to Alcatraz.
Really?
Yeah. So we went to Alcatraz, and then we went across town to have dinner at a place called Trattoria Contadina.
Okay. Ooh,
delicious,
shit.
Dude.
Spaghetti? What'd you have?
It's Italian. I had I had this like Chandler and I had the same thing. It was like a fennel sausage in like this creamy mustardy sauce
Yeah.
with noodles. Oh, dude.
Really?
So good. So good. All the girls got gnocchi.
Oh.
They're all handmade
Yeah.
gnocchi.
Yeah.
But man, that place is amazing. It's not cheap though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dinners are all like $35 a piece.
So I have a phrase for you, and I'm curious if you know what this is. So if I said meat sweats to you, what would that mean to you? Do you have like a understanding of what that would mean?
Now I know the term.
Okay.
I can't say is that I've ever experienced the meat sweats, but essentially it's supposed to be when you eat a whole lot of meat,
right?
You get the meat sweats.
Right. Okay. So you're on the same page.
Yes.
So Piper and I road tripped UC Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
As we passed through Cal Poly, our route took us that way.
Yeah.
We stopped at an In-N-Out. And it's usually just something that's guaranteed, like an easy knockout.
Well, the food's going to be the same at that In-N-Out as it is at every other In-N-Out.
Right,
yeah.
Right. She's got friends that work in In-N-Out, so it's kind of like we're paying it forward. And so, anyway.
Sure.
So,
well, just In-N-Out's
we
awesome.
have In-N-Out. I'm generally, our household eats very healthy, but, you're on a road trip or you need something quick, usually In-N-Out. We're a burger family too. So it's like, sweet, this is an easy knockout. We get down to Santa Barbara, Goleta specifically, our Marriott was there. And we get in, we spend some time walking around, we come back to the hotel, and it's like time to get dinner.
Okay.
And there are a number of restaurants within a half mile of us walking. I'm like, well, fucking let's just walk. It's nice. It's high 60s, low 70s. The weather is fine. It's, dusk getting into dark, but I'm like, I don't mind walking. Do you mind walking to dinner? Absolutely not. So we're looking at our little pamphlet that has like things within walking distance provided by Marriott of like areas. Like there's a Mexican place. There was a fucking Chili's. We're like, why would we come all the way down here to eat at a Chili's?
Right.
That's dumb. There was a bistro in the thing, but I'm like, there's no real chefs here at a Marriott Express or whatever we were at, or Marriott Courtyard. I'm like, it's a guy who's got a set of like frozen shit that he's gonna toss on. Like, I'm not eating at the bistro. We're looking at a bunch of other stuff. There was a burger place, which was kind of like a slightly more upscaled version of like a smash burger. An Italian place, a Mexican place that looked really good, a pizza place, like a higher version of like a Blaze pizza kind of a thing, and then another like the menu read like a higher version of like a Jack's. So some salads, some sandwiches, some like turkey dinner kind of tri-tip plates, and then assorted fried things were available. I'm like, whatever you want. I don't care. I really don't care. So she starts going through the restaurants, and she gets to the burger place, and she's reading off some of the burgers, and she reads off this one burger. I can't even remember the name, which is a shame because it was like a smash burger patty with bacon and a bratwurst sausage, crispy onions, and the way that it was fucking kudos to the wordsmith that wrote this thing, because I was like, well,
goddamn
shit,
I gotta get that.
I mean, that sounds pretty good. And she's like, I know. I'm like, yeah, but we had a hamburger and fries at fucking lunch. Like, I really don't. Anyway, so then we kind of just pass it off, and she goes looking at other stuff, and she's like, are you looking at the menus? And I'm like, fine, I'll fucking pull up like the sites. And so I end up pulling up the burger place just to like whiz past, but the cell signal sucked for my phone in the area on the bed that I was at. I kind of move over, and then all of a sudden a whole bunch of pictures for the menu of the burger place like pop up on my phone. And I went, oh, fuck me, this thing looks amazing. And I clicked the picture of the bird that's like at me. I'm like, and it's the one that she described that had the fucking bratwurst. I'm like, well,
Guess where we're going.
This looks amazing, and we did a lot of walking today, so fucking let's do it.
Yeah.
So we walked to the burger place. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was a great burger. Fries, well, it's like a seasoned fries, whatever, no big deal. We get back to the hotel. We're both drained. It was a good drive, 5.5, just a hair under 6 hours maybe. But we put in probably, I think it was 6 3/4 miles of walking around campus. And then we had burgers and fries again for dinner. So we go to bed early, 9, 10 o'clock, easy. Thermostat is set at 72.
Okay.
Because I guess we were just warm from walking too.
Well, when I'm in a hotel, I'm usually setting that fucker to like 68.
Plus the blankets and the comforters on the fucking beds were just like, it was already warm. So I'm like, yeah, but now it's cold. So a comforter all the way up. I'm wearing like jammy bottoms and a t-shirt, and it's nice and somewhat chilly. So I'm all bundled up, nice, comfy. About 1:30 to 2 a.m., meat sweats. Like the amount of calories that my body is now processing has me in a straight fucking flop sweat. And I'm like, why am I so hot?
Oh my God.
And you could feel like my belly was just like radiating.
Oh my God.
Furnace-sized heat. I'm like, I'm so hot. I get up, I pee, come back to the bed, I take my shirt off, take my pants off. I'm like, well, my daughter's a grown adult, so I get back in, but I push the fucking comforter off.
Yeah.
And I get about 30 minutes with just the sheet over me, and it's still like, hey, man.
What the shit?
Why am I so hot, man? I get up, like the air's not on anymore. I looked at the thermostat, it's like 72. I'm like, well, I don't want to freeze out my daughter. So I bink to 71. I get back in bed. I'm like, please, I'm just waiting for it to get cool. It's so hot.
Oh
I don't remember when I pass out, but I end up passing back out.
Yeah.
Only to then get up in the morning as we get ready to do the rest of the day. And I'm like, man, last night I went to bed, I fell asleep pretty fast. She's like, yeah, me too. I'm like, somewhere about 2 o'clock, man, fucking the meat sweats. And she's like, I got up about 3.
Oh my God.
I had the meat sweats. And we are rolling because meat sweats is like mud butt.
Right.
It's like one of those family terms in the house. And we're both fucking dying. She's like, yeah, mine hit me about 3. She's like, I couldn't. And she's like, so I went up and I think I just splashed some water on my face. She's like, I came back to bed. I took my Taylor Swift hoodie off. I just went back to so she had her sports bra and like her underwear. She's like, but then I got back into bed and I just fucking starfished out to just radiate air into all of the places. She's like, but we are absolutely dying because dad and daughter had the meat sweats.
That's funny.
Anyway,
I don't think I've ever had that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, try replacing 2 of your meals in one day with high-calorie burgers and fries.
With burgers with one with a sausage on it.
Yeah, yeah. Easily 8,000 calories in the span of 10 hours. But we put on good mileage.
Yeah.
So that's we got time. That's a quick way to. So I spent my weekend doing a college tour with Piper on the UC Santa Barbara campus, which is looking to be in competition with her for Davis as for her next transfer out of like knocking out some of her non-elective stuff at Sierra.
Yeah.
an amazing experience. We, goddamn, great campus.
I assume is that a front runner for her? Because I'm thinking if I was gonna go to college and I had my choice of Davis or UCSB.
Oh yes,
I would be going to UCSB for sure.
If I'm being perfectly honest, it is. I told her she needs to go. She needs to go there. It was an amazing campus.
Yeah.
You may have seen it with Melly in Fullerton for her. It's if you're a parent and your child is doing anything that requires academics or extended education, and you get to an institution, whether it's a vocational school or a college of whatever type, and your child gets excited about that, you ride that wave.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. That's the place. To not say that she wouldn't be excited about Davis, because in the end, academically, she knows where she wants to go. But we drove into town. I think we got in somewhere about 2 in the afternoon. It's like I said, I think it was just a hair under a 6-hour drive. A great drive, 101. Road conditions were great. Not a lot of traffic. We were on. It was
you go through like Pismo and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was amazing too, because I actually haven't been to Pismo in probably decades.
Okay.
So, and I haven't actually been through Cal Poly. Like, I'd never gone that way.
Okay.
So, she has, because she's visited Nick, who's attending Cal Poly currently. Mm-hmm. So she knew the drive. An alternate route that was near 6.5 hours took us further south into Los Angeles and then came up into Santa Barbara.
Yeah, from Ventura.
Right,
yeah.
But when we were leaving and I was punching up the route, and it wanted to put us on the 6.5 hour one, so I had just taken it. Well, let's go about 6.5 hours. Sure, whatever. But when I punched it in, when I got into the car Sunday morning, it gave me 3, and one of which had me routed through Cal Poly. And when she got in the car, I went, "Is this how you go to visit Nick in Cal Poly?" I'm like, "It has us going right through there." She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, and it's 30 minutes shorter." I'm like, "Do you mind if we just do that?" She's like, "No." I'm like, "Is there anything I should know about why this might be a problem? Is there construction, or are we going to get, is this a joke?
Yeah.
Is it really shorter?"
Oh,
she's like, "Yeah."
Probably a way nicer drive.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, well, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. And when we got to, when we got through Cal Poly and into Pismo, we rolled down the windows, and it was it was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The
ocean.
Yes, the ocean air.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, that was just an immediate, refresher of yeah. A great drive straight into Goleta. So we park, we get to the hotel, not a problem, check in. Let's stretch our legs. I'm like, you're driving here relative to what we're doing. What do you want to do? She's like, well, she had a plan. She's like, well, we can pre-walk around campus, get an eye on the dorm stuff, that situation, and see how long it would take us to get to campus. The walk was just a hair over 2.5 miles to campus from our hotel.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking at maps of it right now.
Oh yeah. I'm like, fuck it, let's walk. She's like, I don't mind walking. I'm like, let's go. Yeah. So we walked by a couple of the dorms, made our way to campus. It was, low 70s, perfectly fine. Got a good leg stretch in. We went by a number of the science buildings. Everything was locked. It was Sunday.
You didn't do any campus tours or anything?
We did that Monday.
Oh, okay.
But we pre-walked. We just did our own self-guided tour just to get a lay of the land.
Yeah.
No one was on campus because it was Sunday.
Yeah.
So it was like, sweet. But we could hear the entire length of time that we were on campus. Someone was having a fucking party.
Sure.
For sure. When we got onto campus, though, it was unmistakable. She was excited to be, nothing was disappointing about what she could at least see. Obviously, she wasn't doing anything. She wasn't meeting anybody. Just the visual experience she was excited to be there. I'm like, fucking sold. I'm already sold. Like, what,
And, Davis is sort of like, it's in the middle of nowhere in Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a college campus. It's a big school.
Right. She'll probably
It's a good school.
Right.
But, it's also in Davis.
Yeah.
Davis. Yeah. I know a few people that went to Davis after high school, and, it's for what they needed.
It's fine.
It provided what they needed.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not a frill school. You don't have the ocean.
No, there's no ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Santa Barbara is right next to the ocean.
Yes.
So, the city
we went right to a bike path, and then we were in sand.
Yeah.
It's
from
right,
campus.
It's right there.
Yeah.
It is right there. So positive experience. And
cool.
I told her, from a parent's perspective, I said, you have an opportunity to, as long as it provides you the education, it meets your academic goals. If both schools academically checked a box of where the education you needed to get between Davis and UC Santa Barbara, UC Davis, UC Santa Barbara, I said, I'm telling you, you need to go to Santa Barbara because you will experience things without the safety net of Davis, strictly from a life experiences and doing things on your own,
experiencing an area of the California that you've never lived in.
Like there are just too many things that will be great opportunities. There will be risks, right? Sure. There's never no drawbacks, but I said you will have more opportunities to do and see and experience more things where you are 100% in the driver's seat than you would at a safe bet at Davis.
Right.
Whether or not that moves the needle,
home's a half an hour away.
Right.
From Davis.
I'm like, and it's 5.5 to 6 hours. I could probably make it in 5 1/4 if I was.
That's very similar to Fullerton for us,
right?
Because Melly was even looking at places in San Diego. Yeah, and we were like, I think what turned her off, actually, now that we're talking about this, was she realized how far away San Diego was driving.
Oh,
it's 10 hours.
Yeah,
it's a 10-hour drive.
It's the big one.
So she was like, oh, I can handle Orange County, but I don't know about being in San Diego that far away.
Yeah.
And then San Diego seemed like it was, because it was not UC San Diego, it was San Diego State.
Yeah.
Party school.
Oh, yeah.
Was a turnoff for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all the Greek houses are like right next to the campus. Like you walk through campus and there's the Greek houses. Right?
Oh, yes.
And so it's party time.
UC Santa Barbara is the #1 party school in
Is it really?
Yeah.
It used to be Chico.
Yes. We are old and it is no longer.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh. But does that excite her? Or?
No,
okay.
absolutely not.
I mean,
and that was one of the things that we
Melly.
had talked about. Because we could hear our self-guided tour thing. We could hear the the entire time we're on campus.
Right.
So her experience in the 2 years, which I now think is probably for her, and probably I would imagine for Xander too, the experience that she has gotten at Sierra in learning to curate the type of study habits at a JC has been an extremely valuable skill set, because as we got to and we're walking around Santa Barbara campus, she was like, I just want to make sure stuff on her list was study hall openings, tutors availability, library accessibility, the buildings to study,
Right.
and like student services stuff were at the top of her list, which may have been a distraction if she didn't have I know what I need to do success in academics, and these are the kind of like study habits I need. I need quiet spaces. I need to be able to focus, and that means these things. Like, do you have these things? And that was what was important to her. She's like, I don't know where the music's coming from, but that doesn't really excite me. Like the whole. And as we finished our like walk around, we then walked a different way back to the hotel, which led us to pretty much the fringe edge of campus, where then the Greek life houses were, and all of the frats and sororities were hosting what was Sunday Fun Day, and all of the ladies and gents were in like beach, so bikinis, and dudes in shorts and no tops. So if you were looking to
Hook up.
yeah, or see some specimens, that was the day.
Yeah.
Now, if you're pressing 50 years old with a shaved head and a receding hairline with gray hair in your beard, you stick out, and it is awkward as fuck. And if you want a level set as to whether or not, man, I feel young, I'm young at heart, and to then be juxtapose that to people who are, you're like, well, that person's like 13. You know exactly the age.
Are you
bracket,
even old enough to be in college?
Right. You know exactly the age brackets of the young adults that you're now surrounded by.
Yeah.
They aren't prepubescent. These are young adults in their late teens, most in their 20s, mid-20s, and you are very much old.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Gotta go.
well, shit. and so my daughter is very much secondhand embarrassment, because clearly I am like, I feel like I am an outlier. I'm awkward.
I will say that was an interesting feeling of moving Millie into the dorms and having all these young people there, and you're the parent.
Oh, yeah.
And trying to make sure she's settled in and got all the things that she needs, and you're the annoying fucking parent.
Yeah.
Doting to a certain extent, right?
Right.
Because you just want to make sure they're comfortable, and
you
we're
good?
going to be fucking leaving, and like,
are you good?
are you sure? Are you okay? Are you going to call us as soon as we leave?
Right.
So there is it's an interesting problem / feeling.
Yeah.
So I get that.
It wasn't until that moment where I sincerely felt old and out of place. It was like, fuck, God damn it.
Now, so she's going to be going in as a junior or a sophomore?
As a junior.
Yeah. Will she try and dorm it, or will she? Okay.
Her intent is to dorm it,
Okay.
which I think is the best case scenario. And I was talking with she has another friend who probably will never listen, Gavin, who's also doing biosciences stuff at Sierra College and is looking to transfer also to Davis or Santa Barbara. He is leaning more towards Davis because I think academically that's really what he's looking for, and the locality to home will help. He's already an extrovert, so the locality at home removes some of like the distraction, extraneous stuff that he would need to worry about, because he could just go to school and knock shit out and be good. But him and his mother and father came down, and we had dinner with them Monday night. Their tour was yesterday, whereas ours was Monday. So his parents were absolutely amazing, great people to talk to. Me, as someone that is not necessarily, Piper was like, you want to do dinner with Gavin and Gavin's parents? I've never met Gavin, but I've heard her talked about him at length. So I'm like, if it's important to you, then sure. Fucking. Both his parents, fantastic. It was great conversation. They were parents who were interested in what was best for their son and picking brains, and I was there as a parent who was interested in the best interest of my daughter.
Right.
So there was plenty to talk about. The questions that Piper and I had, well, I didn't ask anything. The questions that Piper had asked on the tour, we relayed to Gavin and his parents, and we talked about on-campus stuff and how, while Piper certainly could be sufficient in an apartment and sharing as a roommate with someone off campus, her perspective, as well as Venus and I's perspective, is that if you can remove some of that responsibility of needing to worry about rent, utilities, garbage, food, grocery shopping, all that stuff, if you can remove that as an overhead, and it's not too terrible of a cost differential to stay on campus, to have a food plan that's guaranteed, then you do the dorms, you do a meal plan.
The apartment route is far more difficult, and a little bit unstable, because you don't necessarily know. First of all, you're probably not going to be able to do an apartment on your own, so you're going to have a roommate, at least one, and that can be sketchy depending on who
There's
you're
variables
with.
there too, right?
Yeah, and the whole lease thing,
right?
That's all hard.
Yeah,
and fucking deposits and
right,
all that shit.
Right, and whether or not the availability to what you can afford is in a distance or time thing that's relative to
campus.
Worthwhile to campus.
Yeah.
So I think she is pretty much already consigned to dorm, food plan on campus.
Yeah.
Biking was a 6-minute, worst case scenario, a 6-minute ride to on campus from the furthest of the dorm solution.
Electric scooter.
Right. There weren't a lot of those, but they were more than I'd seen on campuses prior.
Yeah.
I saw no one wheels, plenty of boosted board things, not a lot of e-bikes, a lot of roadsters, a lot of cruisers.
Yeah. Beach.
Like beachcomber style.
With the surfboard clamp on the back.
We had, apparently Santa Barbara has all of the Volkswagen buses.
Oh, God, yes.
The 101 down there, I'm like, wow, man, I haven't seen a VW bus.
Because they don't rot away there.
Yeah, I'm like, I haven't seen one of those in the longest time. Wow, look, another one.
Yeah.
Wow, look, another one. Surfboards. Like,
oh, yeah.
Absolutely just uncanny, the amount of VW buses.
Yeah.
A very positive experience.
Fun.
A number of the, they had like a table that had like on our way out after our tour of like a transfer student portal services, a set of young women who were answering questions. But they were just sitting there. There was no, almost think like a sign up for our club kind of thing, but it was for transfer portal students.
Uh-huh.
Piper had a set of questions that she didn't quite have full answers to, but wanted some clarifications on. As we're like walking out of campus, she was like, I should talk to them, but I'm being a pansy about it. I'm like, you just need to go over there and ask. So she ballsed up and just went over and talked to these two young ladies who gave her, right, they want you on campus. They want certainly the tuition and the money, like the campus wants students there. They want you to transfer there.
Right.
But these two young women, so there are a couple of dorms that are guaranteed for transfer students. And then there were at least 3, I believe, that are options for transfer students, but they're lottery based. So Piper had a question about the guaranteed ones versus the lottery based ones, and the two young women were basically like, you don't want to be in either of the 2 guaranteed ones. She's like, there are nothing but bad experiences. I'm like, I have friends that were just in this one last year and they have a problem with mold, and then I have another girlfriend that was like over here, and there was like, she swears that she's seeing rats around, kind of a thing. But it was the candor. She's like, go for these ones. Like, almost like a cheat sheet. Like, we want you here, but do these ones. These ones are the best. Like, do these. Like, here. So great advice, but not at the cost of, like, scaring her away.
Yeah.
So, like, you felt like you were just being treated with honesty, like above board kind of a thing. Like, talked about the tag program, and they were both like, "Oh, you'll be fine. You'll get in. You'll be accepted. It'll be no problem." Like, what's your blah, blah, blah? And she was like, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, "You'll be fine." Like the amount of support programs for students, all that stuff. As a parent, I was very impressed. I was very comforted by the support services and things afforded to students to help them be successful.
Oh, healthcare, like all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of stuff.
Job placement. It's the only campus in 60 miles. So that provides, the tour guide was basically like, so we're sourced for a lot of job opportunities for the curriculums that we provide because there's no institutional competition. When job makers are looking for interns or the bottom rungs to get job experience stuff, they come here to campus because, one, most of you will probably need the experience or a foot in the door, or it's an occupation that you're looking to see whether or not you can get, and they can't outside of 60 miles, they're not going to pull in anybody else.
That's a trip.
It's a trip.
Yeah, it's
right?
a trip to get
you
there.
You can certainly probably find resources at UCLA or USC or any of the other places, but if you're looking for someone that can make the drive, we're the only campus here and smart people. So,
yeah, that's a really cool area.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was super. I hope that Venus gets an opportunity to go too. She was just in a place.
Oh, she will.
Yeah, she should.
No, she will.
Oh, she will. Yeah.
When she moves down there.
She's going to go down there. She should. I told Venus she should go. She should. That's, you don't want your child to go far.
Yeah.
But I told her she needs to go far. She needs to go there.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Yeah, all the things will get figured out, but you need to go.
It was one of those things too with Melly, like you go where you want, you know. And she was really, one of the things I liked about her decision making process was she was like, well, I can get the degree I want at Fullerton for less money than going somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need to pay more money for the same, kind of thing?
Right. Yeah.
And she's not a partier. She didn't care about any of that stuff.
Yeah. Piper's. Yeah.
It was just school for her. So, and then she was in an area she enjoyed. She was very close to Disneyland. She had an annual pass.
Mm-hmm.
She would go to the beach every once in a while. I mean,
Yeah.
So she got to go do an experience like Orange County.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
While she was also getting her bachelor's or whatever.
Yeah.
So Piper should definitely
State Street
take advantage of that.
had
shit.
like its own like microcosm of like everything you could possibly want. Old Navy, Target, shopping
Isn't it
stuff.
sort of like a rodeo drive of Santa Barbara?
But like for common folk. But there were like high-end shit too.
Yeah.
But you could do... We went... That's where we ended up for dinner, like a restaurant, Opal, on State Street. And then we walked down and had ice cream like 12 minutes away. We did probably 20 miles of walking.
Wow.
Give or take 2.
In a couple days.
Yeah. Oh, great experience.
Yeah, nice.
That's
exciting. I'm excited to see how this works for her because it's cool to watch him go and do that thing.
Yeah.
And I'm still amazed. Mellie's like working in her shit now. She's doing it for free, but I mean, it's cool to see all that happening. And I feel like Piper's on the edge of that right now, and that's really cool to watch happen.
Yeah. It was good stuff. We drove back through Cal Poly, met with Nick in between his classes.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Jesus. Have you seen a Tacoma Trail Hunter?
I don't think so. Is that what he has?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Holy shit. That's I mean, as a profile.
The new one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beefy.
It's stout?
Yeah, it looks like a fucking French bulldog.
Oh, really?
It's got like...
I like the new Tacomas.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looked nice.
Yeah.
It's got like it's like the RS. It's like all the bells and whistles. That's it. The top of like a fucking Ranger Raptor or
Raptor or
F-150 Raptor. It's top of the line. There is no higher model. It's got all the fucking bells and whistles. He's like, we're on a incline and I'm like looking for it. He's got the white one, so it's kind of like that Stormtrooper colorway.
Oh, yeah.
Black or white with black trim all over the place.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking in my side mirror as looking for a white, and it's just like, it's got a nice wide stance. It's up, good spacing, meaty looking fucking grill. Jesus, shit. Well, good for you.
How long has he had that?
A month and a half.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, maybe more like a month. Like, did you take it to the dunes or anything? He's like, no. Like, okay, well,
air down the tires, buddy. Hey, I mean, I drove an Odyssey out there on the sand.
Yeah. You can do it. I mean, if you can do it
just
in an
keep
Odyssey.
the gas down a little bit. You don't want to spin the tires, but you don't want to stop for sure in the soft shit.
Right.
Just keep on trucking.
Just go.
Yeah.
Just go.
That was sketchy. Looking back on doing that was sketchy.
Well, you're young and dumb.
Yeah, with my fucking in-laws in the van and everything.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
That's not too young.
No, this was just not a few years ago.
Well, you're young at heart.
I'm still the old guy on campus.
Hey. Yeah. It was funny going back Monday for the tour. I'm like, I've seen probably most of these girls in bikinis. I'm glad I'm making jokes to Piper. I'm like, I'm glad all of the young women are clothed now.
You're all, that chick has a tattoo on her stomach.
Yeah, I know where your tat is, sweetheart. Anyway, it was good. It was a good drive. It was good time spent with my daughter. No regrets. It was very positive.
Awesome. I remember you saying you were going to do that. Then you're like, "Oh, I'm in Santa Barbara," and I'm like, "Oh shit, that's right."
Yeah. It was a great drive too.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
I like that drive. What was it, Highway 58 or whatever you cut over from I-5, 56,
41?
41. I don't know.
I don't know.
You cut over.
That the fucking Apple Maps told me. Man, oh shit, we're out of time. But the whole, I got with 100% accuracy, speed check.
Oh yeah,
ahead.
I'm
like, really? Fucking...
Was there bacon?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
3 times it.
Well, you can report them. You know.
Yes, I saw, and then I asked Piper, like, I do wonder how that get populated, and we just punched around on the map, like, oh, report, bing.
Yeah.
Oh, construction, speed checks. I'm like,
and I was see my thought on those was, does Apple Maps, I mean, obviously there's GPS in your phone. It knows how fast you're going.
Oh, yeah. Does it see
Does it
throttle
go,
offs?
Yeah, does it go, oh, he's been doing 76 miles an hour for the last 20 minutes.
And
then pop up a little speed check ahead, so then you slow down.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, to get you to...
Yeah,
oh.
I kind of wonder. Because most of the time, probably 85% of the time, I don't see any bacons.
Oh, mine was 100% accurate.
Oh, okay.
Yes, 2 underpasses and then 1 shoulder coming through like this huge long straightaway. I'm like, oh, wow. And on the third one, I was like, how does it... And then we fucked around with the menu and so.
Yeah. That's a really nice drive because you go through that little
yes,
like it's real flat, but there's like mountains around, and then you kind of go over the mountain and come down. There's like a creek bed,
yes,
and then there's like wineries and shit around, and then you pop out onto the 101,
yeah,
and you pass the Madonna Inn where all the Teslas are.
yes, yes,
yeah, and you go by the fairgrounds and all that shit.
Being attacked by something.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are at time.
All right. Well, you should
return the cart.
Check the campus.
Check.
Wash your hands, I mean.
Wash your ass.
Get the meat sweats.
Register to vote. It's coming up soon.
Yes, and vote.
Check your oil Tony.
And
pick up a broom. Shit. Check. Get your shots. Make the call. Hands, ass, cart, shots, oil, vote. Make the call. Pick up a broom.
And do the kindness.
And we'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.